Hello, my name is Jackie Kirkup. Welcome to Spotlight on Souris. Today is Thursday, May the 23rd, 2024. Today I have Laura Jean here with me and some beautiful dogs. Laura Jean, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and where these dogs are from?
Sure. So I am actually a counselor and I work in the mental health field. And I work on one of the southwestern area reserves.
Okay.
And so a couple of years ago, when I started working on reserves in Manitoba, I recognized that there were gaps in services for animal care.
Mm-hmm.
And I had experience previously working on reserves with animal care in BC as a volunteer.
Okay.
So I decided to pick up my volunteerism where it left off there and try to bring a lot of the energy here.
Okay. Wow. Very exciting. I'm happy to meet your dog and these two little guys over here that are being very good and loving their treats. So tell us the state of the animal welfare that you're dealing with as a frontliner.
So currently the group that I am working with, we are all a group of volunteers, and there's about 8 of us, and we are trying to just support animal safety for animals in the southwestern quarter, I guess, or area, region.
Yep.
Because services outside of Winnipeg, right, outside the perimeter, are really just completely lacking. And so a lot of the instances can be easily prevented if there are just folks in communities who can be there to support animal safety.
Okay, wow. So as a frontliner, what are you doing to get these animals to safety?
Well, it's a little bit complicated. So currently we have started a Facebook page.
Okay.
Through which we post animals in the southwest area region. I should say one or the other, I guess. Mostly, like predominantly on reserve, in reserve communities. So we kind of network to try and bring in, to bring in foster placements,
Okay.
which is being represented here somewhat. Probably not wanting to be on camera right now, yeah. I'm tangling a couple of puppies from a chair.
Are these puppies related at all?
They're brother and sister.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
these ones are siblings.
Yeah.
And again, from a local reserve, from this region. And so we've got Sweet Pea and we've got Stew.
Okay.
And so they're really healthy, and that's great. You know, I don't want to be too sad and dismal, but you know, we generally, when we pick up puppies, we find them in quite, you know, neglectful condition.
Good girl.
And of course, of late is the tick concern, because
Yes, they're
that's really serious.
rampant, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
it's very serious. And so once, like if a puppy is already in an emaciated state, and then they get a rather thick coverage of ticks on them, then they can very easily, unfortunately, pass away.
Right.
So we try to intervene as best we can, and thankfully now that we're getting better known, we have a lot of community members
Oh, no.
that will contact us, sorry, and
No, that's okay.
and let us know that there is a concern.
That puppy.
And so one of us tries to get out there. Like I said, we're volunteers,
Mhm.
so we work around our work schedules
Yes.
or our life schedules
Oh, is that itchy?
and try our best to make it out
Yeah.
there.
Right, yeah, that what an incredible job you were doing, and the work is just amazing and so heartwarming to see that, you know, these two guys are, you know, healthy and
Okay.
ready to go to a new home.
Yes, actually, funny you should bring that up, because, so the second piece of our work is once we get them into safety, then we kind of pull across, eastern Canada, really, all the way from, the Ontario eastern border,
Oh, okay.
all the way to, British Columbia, really.
Wow,
And so I guess that's east-west,
yep,
or, yeah. And just try to find a rescue that has space.
okay,
And we'll be able to organize transports. And I've done some crazy trips, to Moose Jaw, to Calgary, to Swift Current and Medicine Hat,
wow,
just to try and, my craziest trip was 18 puppies and 7 cats.
oh
in
my goodness.
one load. Yeah, that was a little
That
crazy.
would be.
I went to Medicine Hat and, but it's just really important, and the more puppies and cats that we can find placement for with rescues, the more we are able to then take into safety and
Right.
continue on with, I guess, the flow,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Is the idea.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, what is the name of your Facebook page?
So again, because we're just a group of volunteers.
Okay,
So our page is called the Manitoba Front Lines.
okay,
And so people can come onto the page and message us,
okay,
or indicate that they might be interested in helping. Again, it's all volunteer. But the Facebook page itself is just closed to the direct frontline workers and the rescues that are associated.
okay, yeah, that's,
But that doesn't mean that we don't really appreciate people coming on our page
Okay.
and asking if maybe they can, volunteer with us. And
right. Is that where
So-
you had said maybe you post the pictures of the animals that might be up for adoption, or did I misinterpret
Yes,
that maybe?
Yes,
Okay,
you did.
Okay,
so.
I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, thank you. I don't, and actually we don't want to be misunderstood as being an adoption service, because we're not a rescue. We have no money, except that we have some kind donors that will offer gas money sometimes, in some cases. And so basically we are just, our only intention is to bring animals into safer circumstances. And then what happens is we then, like these, for example, these 2 puppies would be moved on or taken into the care of a rescue.
Okay,
And then you would be able to find actually Stu and Sweet Pea on the rescue's page.
okay,
And you
all
would go
right,
through the adoption screening and process with that rescue.
okay.
Okay?
Yep, I understand.
Okay.
Now, yeah, thank you, I appreciate you
Sure,
explaining
yeah,
that
no
a little bit better.
problem. Yeah, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like I've completely gone off the script of
Not
questions
at all,
I am.
because it's completely, completely relevant.
Yeah,
I
no,
could go on to,
yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you carry on.
No,
'cause I
it's-
think I might have.
I was gonna say,
got
I could go
lost.
on to reasons why we had to start, we felt compelled
Perfect. Yep,
to
absolutely.
start this group. And I
You're
mean,
okay.
that's so layered. There are so many, multiple reasons why. I'm so glad that we did start it, because with the economy taking the turn the way it has in the last 5 or 6 months, even, it just has become, unfortunately, a changeable situation for a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
And so it's heartbreaking what they are forced to, be in the position of having to relinquish or surrender their animal. The fear of being somehow judged or feeling criticized. It's very emotional for some people.
Oh, I believe it.
And so, so it's kind of, been rather essential the last little while.
Right, yeah, yeah, I totally can understand and get that type of a situation.
Right, yeah, and I mean, it's kind of interesting for me, having lived in British Columbia and then coming here and noticing the dated, I guess,
Okay.
approach to funding of, for example, humane societies.
Okay.
And the financial support for rescues that's available through provincial funding. It's unfortunate that that's the reason why, and lots of folks ask, but that's the reason why we have to send animals like these two out of province for rescue.
Yes.
Because Manitoba just does not yet have the system for it.
Right. These two guys are, I can see German Shepherd in them. And so are they, like, do you know if they're like a full German Shepherd or mix? I know that's something you can't figure out, right? But that's certainly something I definitely see in these two, and so they melt my heart because that's what I grew up with, was German Shepherd dogs.
Yeah, so there are certain breeds that are more popular, of course, than others, and for the most part, it's the larger breed dogs that we find, right?
Right.
The odd time, for example, this one was a rescue from a reserve in British Columbia.
Okay.
When I first started 13 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
And so this was, this is what I was going to speak to, was there are occasions, and I don't want to stereotype the idea, but there are occasions when we are asked to come in to a situation. And there was one mentioned in the news recently of folks who have mental health issues and animal hoarding.
Oh.
Right, and so
Okay.
this particular dog, she was an example of a hoarding household. And so she was a foster fail.
Right.
But
Yes.
yeah, she was one of a few that was brought out of a house that was.
Incredible.
So it's not a new issue,
Mm-hmm.
is a part of,
Right.
what the message here.
Yeah, right, that's right. Well, very good little dog. Seems quite happy on your lap.
Well,
It's
13
probably
years together.
A very good friend. Yes. I have a cat who is attached to me and is my very good friend, and I would, I think, be very devastated if something was ever to happen to her. So I understand the connection with an animal when you have one in your life. So we talked a little bit about, this is one of the questions. So if a person happens to see an animal being abused, what should they do?
Okay, so, of course, again, it depends on the area that they're in, right? I would strongly recommend just calling 911.
Okay.
Any possible details you can get of the incident, even if you can record, like if you happen to have your phone close by.
Right.
If you can record the incident that's occurring, then that way the police are able to try and investigate and follow up.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't suggest approaching the person, because generally speaking, if a person is of a mind that they are causing harm to an animal, they're at an escalated level of aggression, and they might, in some way redirect it towards you.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is unfortunately the best you can do.
Okay, well, that's
And-
very good information.
Right, and the only other possible thing I would suggest is if you feel that you're a safe distance from the situation, you can certainly yell at the best you can and see if you can get that person's attention and know
Right.
that they're being watched.
Yes.
And, and even show them your phone so that they know that they've been recorded.
Right.
And, but yeah, definitely 911 first. Yeah.
And if someone is, talked to by the police that has been abusing an animal, what could happen to them?
Okay, so it depends on the offense, right? Whether
Right.
first, second, third time.
Yes.
And so there's definitely a fine.
For sure, yeah.
That's
And I know you
associated.
can't really answer that, but it could result in, some
Right.
charges being possibly laid.
Yeah, there's a possible, requirement to appear in court.
Right.
And it is considered an assault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just very, very similar to an assault on a
Really,
person.
really very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm learning quite a bit here, having this little interview with you about this. So what about, what can people do differently to look after their animals? Like, for example, should they keep their cat indoors, or can they put their cat outside on a leash, or how should they let their dog go outside? Like, what sort of things should people be keeping in mind when their animals are outside or inside, for that matter, around other people?
Okay, so one of our recommendations is that, of course, we encourage animals to have outside time,
Right.
just as much as humans,
Yes,
right?
yes, important.
Yes, and some breeds of animals, of course, in particular dogs, I guess, do require 3 to 4 hours a day
Oh, okay.
of outdoor time,
Okay.
right? Particularly the working breeds. They are a little more of a, outdoor kind of minded
Right.
dog.
Yes.
And so it's important to know, first of all, that, what kind of dog personality and breed that you are living with, and what their needs would be related to that. Of course, vaccinating. I know that people who are mindful of their pets don't, they're not too concerned about rabies.
Right.
But unfortunately, distemper still does exist, particularly, surprisingly, in this province. I
Okay.
hadn't seen it till I moved back here,
Oh,
so.
really?
And so it's important to, be mindful that that does still exist. And of course, there's kennel cough vaccination as well,
yes.
if you're a frequenter of dog parks.
Yes, okay.
Or of course, where the name came from, right, from
Right,
boarding kennels.
Right.
Then that is strongly recommended as well. Flea and tick prevention.
Very important.
Yes, it is. Fleas are annoying, but I guess a lot of folks maybe don't know that roundworm contamination in your
Okay.
dog's gut does come from fleas. And roundworm can cause malnourishment in your dog. You could feed it buckets and buckets of food, but gradually it will become undernourished.
I see, okay.
So it is a health concern, just as much as ticks.
Right.
And wood ticks, as I said, are really awful. They can be terribly dangerous,
Absolutely.
not only for Lyme disease concerns, but also for something we call tick paralysis,
Oh,
which basically means that if your dog is covered in, far too many ticks and its system is overwhelmed, it becomes, of course, short in like blood, basically,
right,
anemic,
right, yes.
right? Like we
Okay.
call it anemia in humans.
Yes,
And so the oxygen supply to their brain becomes very decimated, and it causes seizures and eventually death.
wow.
But we call it paralysis because, of course, what first happens is they lose control of their limbs.
Oh, I see. Wow, very scary.
It is, and I'm not judging anybody because, for example, like if you have an outdoor dog, right? And lots
Yes.
of folks in Manitoba with acreages and rural, farms and things. So if your dog is laying out in the yard and you're like, oh, look, they've got a favorite spot. And then 3 hours later you look and your dog is still lying there. Oh, look, the dog is still lying there. And so, if you realize, oh, here it is sun's going down and the dog's still lying in the same spot, then it's time to go over and just check your dog.
Yes.
And just be sure that they are able to respond to you, to get up, and just, even we call it the tick picking,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And
The most disgusting job ever, but
right?
I understand, it needs to be done.
It needs to be done. And naturally, we do encourage people to have an indoor space for their dogs and cats at night,
Okay,
because coyotes are very alive and well
yes,
all over Manitoba.
yes.
And you can hear them even, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you can hear them, your dog can hear them.
yeah,
And puppies are very easy pickings for coyotes. So are female dogs, so are lone male dogs.
okay.
So, and cats, of course, cats are just a given,
Yeah.
right?
They're an easy lunch.
Yes, and unfortunately, they are prey to not only coyotes, right? Raccoons are also
Right,
very interested in cats.
yes, yeah,
So, we do encourage you to not leave your dog outside if you're not around, to kind of check periodically. And also there are, even through Amazon, miraculously enough, there are, totally enclosed wire runs.
oh,
And
Okay.
they're quite lengthy and nice for a dog. And so they're completely protected from anything outside. And you can use them for your cat too.
Right,
If you've got
okay.
a really spoiled cat.
yeah,
A 10 by 12 wire run is a pretty, it's like
Yeah.
a zoo enclosure really, right?
yeah.
Like for a zoo animal. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
might
and
have
it gets
to check
delivered
that
to your
out.
door. Yeah, it gets delivered to your door and you just snap it together like Lego.
Oh, excellent.
So,
I've done a lot of Lego.
right? Well, this is big adult Lego, but yes.
So someone like me could probably put it together.
Oh, with a girlfriend.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds
Mhm.
good. When you had mentioned dog park, I just wanted to mention for those folks that are maybe around Surison area,
Mhm.
we do have a dog park that has just nicely opened up.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's just north of, I'm terrible because I live here, so I want to point directions
Yes.
and tell you where, but it is north along the railroad track. So if you were going out of town on our main highway,
Mhm.
going north up to 50, just before the railroad tracks, you would turn and go west, and then there's a tree line there, and then there is an enclosed area. So it's just nicely getting up and running. I don't know too much other information about it, but very exciting. They've been working really hard to get this dog park opened up, so.
Would you know is it the Lions or is
You know,
it
it's
what
just,
local?
again, a group of volunteers.
Mhm.
I can certainly, maybe after the interview, I can leave you some names, because I don't want to say too much.
No, that's okay. I just wondered
because,
if it was sponsored by a certain
You
group.
know, I know, it's definitely, it's been community members and community donations, so they've had a few
Wonderful.
fundraisers that have happened where
Right.
people have donated the funding money
Mhm.
back to them, so,
That's
so yeah, it's very
wonderful.
exciting,
Yeah.
very exciting
Yeah,
for our
that is good.
community.
Yeah.
These two little guys are
Mhm.
just being amazing. I
They're doing
had
pretty
wanted
good.
to ask actually, how old do you think they are?
Well, they're actually, these pups are 6 months old.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. So, some of the pups I kind of have knowledge of before, right? Before they're born, because people will contact me and say, my dog's pregnant, you know.
Okay.
So, so that sort of means that I'm already, aware of their approach.
Right.
Which is always nice, because then I can sort of organize a safe place for them to go and some rescue
Right.
before they're even coming along.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to
Oh,
add
absolutely.
that with puppy surrender means that the rescue spay is the female.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that is a really wonderful courtesy that rescues have put into motion, is when the puppies are surrendered, then that means a complimentary spay
Right.
for the mom.
For the mom.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Same with
Goodness.
cats.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Mhm.
So just another, what kind of help do you need from the government as far as support and money? We kind of touched on that a little bit, indicating that there doesn't seem to be much support in that way. And so is this something that maybe your group is like lobbying the government for support, or writing lots of letters to your MLA, or is that something that your group is actively working on?
So our group, of course, we're all very active in our own little, communities and areas that we're
Right,
in.
yes.
And we also are very connected with the humane societies,
Okay.
both in Brandon and in Winnipeg.
Okay,
We also, of course, try to collaborate as much as we can with organizations like Feed Fur Babies.
okay, yes, I have
And-
heard of that.
Okay, and also another organization which is called One Health.
Okay,
And of course, our wonderful Wild Canoe. We are just so very thankful to him for all the possible recognition that he and funds
okay,
that he
that's
has
good
given
news.
towards animal care in this province. And we would encourage young people to investigate careers in animal protection because, for example, what we call APO, which are animal protection officers
Okay.
that work with the province.
Yes,
And they are always needing, hiring because,
interesting.
because for some reason, it doesn't seem to be a field of work that has
Oh.
been
That's been,
encouraged.
right,
Also veterinary work. Veterinary work, we are so short in this province because there is no veterinary schools
right,
to speak of
yes,
in this province. And so unfortunately, we lose just about all of our veterinary work employees or prospective employees to other provinces that have schools.
right, yeah,
And so we need technicians, we need veterinary assistants, surgical assistants, vets themselves, right? Large and small animal. We are just down to, I think we have 8 in the whole of southern Manitoba.
Wow,
I cannot, well, outside of Winnipeg, sorry.
right, right.
I cannot speak for northern Manitoba at all. But yeah, it's just really, really difficult. And even those vets are challenged to work with rescues because of course, rescues just don't have the money that a regular citizen would have,
Right,
in theory,
yes,
to take their animal for regular health.
yes, yeah. Such a sad state. My heart is breaking sitting here talking to you and hearing about the work that you're doing, and wow, are these animals lucky?
Thank you, yeah, and part of the sad state of it is that it's not just happening, like, it didn't just start this last year,
Right.
right? This is like a decade or
Yes.
2 decades in the making, really.
What can people that are watching here do to help?
Okay, so it's a real challenge, I know. And because even for myself, I donate money to causes as well.
Yes.
And so deciding, okay, am I going to donate to feeding children or feeding animals? And I know that's a tough one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we all sort of have to, I think, choose our little pet projects that we're going to either volunteer our time to or our funds to.
Right.
And so I would encourage people that are inclined to donate to animals. That's the Humane Societies, of course, of Brandon and of Winnipeg.
Okay,
You know, Winnipeg, of course, as of late in the news. Also there are, you know, so many rescues that I could name, but it would be unfair because I would probably miss one or two.
yeah, that sometimes usually happens, so
Right.
best not sometimes.
Yes, but thank goodness for Google and Facebook. You certainly can just Google like rescue near me and woohoo, Google just
Yeah.
pops it right
Yeah,
up for you.
pretty amazing
So
that Google.
it is,
It's
isn't
my
it?
friend.
It is, it's so very true. And foster!
Yes.
Please. And you know, people get a wrong impression, I think, of fostering. So fostering it can look like just over summer holidays.
Okay,
You know, if you're home, you're a teacher and you're home for the summer, right? Or it can look like, oh, I'm around for a few weeks here and a few weeks there. And so you can schedule in emergency foster, right,
Yeah.
space.
yeah,
And it doesn't take a lot of room, I mean, these guys do. But, you know, we rescue even the smallest, sometimes newborn puppies. So we call them bottle feeders, and God bless the bottle feeders out there.
oh goodness,
So yeah, that will actually like make formula and feed puppies,
wow,
you know, around the clock,
Yeah.
every 2.5 hours.
yes.
So it comes in all shapes and sizes,
Mhm.
and whatever you can do. Even we have people that are just drivers.
Right, transporting,
Transporting,
Yes,
that's
important
all,
as
yeah. If you're going to on a road trip to Regina, or on a road trip to even Dauphin, or anywhere
Yeah,
like that, we can always use, you know, your hatch
yes.
for
Okay,
for
that's
an animal
Very
that
good
needs
to
a
know,
ride.
very
Yeah.
good to know. So maybe just to recap, these two guys are up for adoption, or
So
will be up for adoption.
they are currently they're out for adoption through a rescue.
Okay,
And the rescue we've been working with for quite a while. So I'm just gonna get a little, did you wanna say Tanea?
yes, and I'm very
Yeah.
sorry I didn't introduce you, but sorry, can you tell me your name again?
Tania.
Tania. I'm curious what your role is with these two dogs.
Well, me and Mom are the foster
Okay.
for these two.
Okay. And how long have you had them with you?
I'm not even sure. Quite a while. It's not long, but it seems so long, you know.
Right. Well, they're puppies and they're busy.
I think it's been about close to 4 weeks, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
3.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you must have tuckered them out. All
Well,
this talk and moving around.
it's,
They're having a bit of a rest.
It's funny because like we'll get one, you know, they'll leave and then Laura brings us, you know, one or two more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When they leave, you know, it's like right back. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's exhausting and it's a handful, but I mean, I fall in love with them and then they have to leave, then I get sad, but then some other ones come, right? And then I just fall in love with those ones too.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you how that feels to have them.
Well,
for
we
a
had
bit
a
and then,
we had a mama and 9 puppies.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And that was a lot of work, you know, like it was okay once, you know, when they weren't, you know, as active and stuff like that, right? But once they got active and moving and running around and it's like, no, outside and
Yeah.
you'd wake up in the morning and all you'd see is 9 puppies standing at the door looking at you. Can
Oh
we
my
come
goodness. Well, it sounds. I know it's hard work, but it sounds also maybe a little bit
Well,
fun
we have-
too.
in? Yeah, it's good. We actually had a rescue that became one of that we adopted.
Oh,
So
very good. That's nice.
and like she's so well behaved, like she's trained. Like you could just tell her, you know, be new kennel and she'll just go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll stand there like with the door open, like
Yeah.
So the rescue that these two are.
oh, I don't even know. Do you know?
And that's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
absolutely fine.
okay,
Yeah, we don't need to go any further about that. That's fine. I just,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can just remind us
So
again.
it's, sorry? No, these two are actually through Rough Start Rescue.
Oh.
Yeah, So, okay, there it is. So Rough Start Rescue is one of the longest, I think, rescues that I've been working with that's not in province.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually out of Alberta, in the Calgary area.
Okay.
And so these two would be on the Rough Start Facebook page or website
Okay.
if people wanted to.
I'm gonna go home and look it up.
Yeah, right.
Well, they've been very, very good. I'm super impressed.
Mhm.
You're doing something very good.
Well, I mean,
with
I
your
think he kind of got.
training and.
I think he kind of just got sick of being pulled everywhere. So she's like, I'll just lay
Yeah.
down and.
And I think they're out of treats also. So maybe
Yeah.
that's just
Or full of treats.
yeah, that would be it. Full belly, full belly. So is there anything else you can tell us about this work that you're doing that we maybe haven't discussed?
I don't think so, other than to remind everyone that, we have that saying, and I know it refers to children, about it takes a whole village. But, animals are children in a lot of ways, right? And that's certainly how we feel about them when they're a part of our families.
Yes.
And so I think just to remember that, it's not telling on your neighbors. If you are noticing that there's something concerning going on, and I am feeling really awful because I should have Manitoba Animal Protection number just right in my hand so I could read it off during this interview, but I don't. I'm so sorry. I should have thought of that.
Not a worry. You've mentioned the name, and so perhaps people can look that up themselves.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I'm just going to tell you that if people are looking for it in the Google, so it's actually under Manitoba Agriculture.
Okay.
Believe it or
Okay.
not. But that's because it includes large animals as well.
Oh, yes.
So, for example, on our hotlines or frontlines page, we've had people contact us about bison,
Wow.
about calves, about horses, about like fox even, right?
Wow.
So the number is actually under Manitoba
Okay.
Agriculture, if you Google it.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's good that you mentioned that.
Okay,
because,
yes, no one would
people
think
may
of
be
that, I
looking-
certainly didn't,
No,
yeah.
for sure not.
Mm.
Can you just remind us one more time about the name of the Facebook page that if people would find if they were wanting to get in contact with you?
Sure, so we're called, I'm not sure what the term we're using right now, I think we're called Manitoba Frontlines.
Okay.
Do you know the rest of it? No, I don't know either, because I just want Manitoba Frontlines, is it Animal Alliance? Is it something like that we're using? Sorry.
No, that's okay. And
I
if you
should-
don't find it, it's something maybe when the YouTube video goes up, we can maybe attach a bit more information to go with it.
Sure,
That would be
yeah,
fine.
we're just on Facebook.
Okay.
I don't know if you could find us through Google,
Right,
but, because we're not that big.
yes.
But definitely, if you were to search us up on Manitoba Animal.
Yes, it's Manitoba Animal Alliance.
Okay, okay.
Manitoba
And I
Animal
was just going
Alliance.
to mention too, this being a local production, perhaps if someone couldn't get in touch with you, I know that people are resourceful in the community and
Mhm,
would maybe, get in contact with somebody from Westman Cable or something like that to help kind of direct them to get in
Right.
touch with you, so,
Yeah.
we'd help people find you.
Yeah, so, yeah, and like I said, we are just a group of volunteers, and we're just sort of trying to create energy within the region, so that people are more aware of the animals around them.
Okay,
And also, I encourage people to learn the bylaws of their local area,
yes, that's important.
right? And, because it's meaningful if we all pay attention to it.
Right, right. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you both and a pleasure to have these animals and pets and with us today. I certainly think that this is personally a good cause and a good thing that you're doing, and perhaps you can come on another time and showcase a few more animals that might need adopted. So thank you very much for your
I
time.
really love that, thank
Yeah,
you.
well, you're
And
very welcome.
our group certainly appreciates the community awareness that this will bring.
Awesome, good. Well, it's lovely to meet you both. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is Spotlight on Souris.